Patch notes! Introducing the Lawnmower 5.0. That's right, fellas. Manscaped has just announced their updated Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. The question is it meta? Well, they've added an all-new full blade to capture fine hairs and leave a flawless, smooth finish. Guys, this is in addition to their upgraded trimmer blade that you already know and love. Now, you can start grooming with the trimmer and finish the combo with the foil blade for a shave that reaches right to the skin. That's 2 blades for the price of 1. A fantastic deal. They also added a new, more powerful LED light for reaching dark crevices. Yeah, this has been one of the best changes though, specifically for places that never see the light of day. You need something powerful to light the way. The new LED is also dual temperature, so you can choose which color light illuminates your skin best. Remember, these are just the updates. The Lawnmower 5.0 still has all the legendary features that make Manscaped trimmers the absolute best. That rechargeable battery via USB-C, the travel lock, the waterproofing, the 3-step battery indicator. It just keeps getting better and better. So for my folks that want to rock the most meta trimmer out there, use code Aztecross to get 20% off and free shipping at checkout. And yes, code Aztecross will work right here for the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra at manscaped.com. Again, big thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. Guys, I cannot express just how good Thorn is about to be. Like, even if you picked up Thorn right now and you played a couple PvP games, whether it's base PvP, trials, comp, or even checkmate, Thorn can hold its own. Now, preseason The Witch, I would definitely say that Thorn was lagging behind greatly. But with the mass range changes that Bungie did at the beginning of the season, where they decoupled zoom from our range, and they picked the floor up on so many low-range weapons, Thorn saw a nice bump here, actually kicking it up to almost 31 meters in game. Now, for a 140 round per minute hand cannon, this isn't necessarily phenomenal, but you got to keep in mind, guys, other 140 round per minute hand cannons have had their range nerfed, specifically rangefinder hand cannons. Those God roll palindromes with rangefinder, that all-stringer with that craftable rangefinder roll. I'm not saying those aren't good hand cannons. They're great, but they're no longer these outliers that had crazy amounts of range that completely dwarfed the like of Thorn. We are truly experiencing the redemption arc for this hand cannon. And when you think of like the 3 most popular hand cannons in Destiny history, I know some people say Ace of Spades, but for my Destiny 1 vets, you know, it was the trifecta: Hawkmoon, Last Word, and Thorn. Back in year 1 of Destiny 1, it was those 3 hand cannons that would cancel each other out, and it ruled the meta. Now, I do want to mention that we're not going to get to that level of power with Thorn. Thorn used to walk flat-footed back then in 2-tap. It was disgusting. But first, let's just go over Thorn real quick and why this hand cannon is going to be so good next season. Bungie is finally giving us a catalyst, which states that getting kills or picking up a remnant grants additional range, handling, and mobility. It's also going to give us a flat buff to our stats, most notably range. Bungie is giving us plus 20 range and plus 10 stability. Now, the stability is nice, and I'm sure my controller players are definitely going to appreciate that, but what does plus 20 range actually give us meter-wise? We're roughly looking at somewhere between 33 to 34 meters, which is a nice increase. And even though 69 range isn't exactly max range, it is by far the best stat possible. Now, for my PvE players, fret not, this is going to benefit you as well. Picking up a remnant will also overflow the magazine, up to 40 rounds max. We recently talked about Osteostriga and its nerf that's coming next season, and we mentioned that Thorn may be worth considering for my PvE players. I know this is mainly a PvP focused review today, but you're gonna have up to 40 rounds max in this hand cannon. You've also got remnants, which is buffing your damage up substantially. I know some of you wish it had more benefits inside of PvE, but I think it's still going to be good. Keep in mind, Bungie has given us exotic catalysts in the past that have been like a single stat bump, and previously that was all I was asking for. I remember last year when we were talking about Thorn, I was like, yo, I wish Thorn would get a catalyst that bumped up its range stats. But Bungie has taken it a step forward in so many ways, with the overflow, with remnant granting you range, handling, and mobility, and a flat buff on top of all that. Now keep in mind, Thorn still has all of its lethality, the ability to 2-crit 1 body on tier 5 resilience guardians or below, and that's due to the fact that you have that poison tick damage. Again, tier 6 to tier 10 resilience still requires 3 crits. Now I know a lot of the focus has been on checkmates. It's been pretty pretty much all but confirmed from Bungie that Checkmate is about to become the new norm. So I'm going to talk about damage values in this game mode in preparation for that. First up, keep in mind Bungie has been making multiple changes to Checkmate, and again, another change could be made again, but currently right now, adaptive hand cannons will kill all guardians, even max resilience guardians, in 3 critical hits. Now keep in mind though, because of the damage difference and health pool differences, damage fall off inside of Checkmate is a bit more severe, right? So getting that 3 tap outside of ranges is a bit tougher to do. Now the damage inside of Checkmate is 77 per crit for Thorn, which is actually 81 damage when you account for the poison damage. Now Bungie just did an update 7.2.5.3, which changed the body shot damage of our hand cannons. So originally the body shot damage of Thorn was 52 damage per body. With that poison damage, it was 56. Now it's 42 per body. With poison damage, it's 46. Now it appears this nerf to body damage may have also indirectly nerfed Mark of the Devourer. Either that, or Bungie intentionally nerfed it and didn't clarify so. Previously inside of Checkmate, Mark of the Devourer would do 4 ticks of a damage. Granted, I know there's some rounding, but we can't exactly test this in a private lobby. But if it is 8 damage per tick, that is a total of 32 poison damage. Now after the update, Mark of the Devourer is only doing 6 damage per tick, bringing its total to 24. Now that's a big problem considering it does more damage with Mark of the Devourer inside of base Crucible at 7 damage per tick. So I'm really confused here. And for my folks wondering, Cross, why is this that big of a deal? Just don't play Checkmate? Fellas, Checkmate is the future of PvP. Now, the reason why I think this is unintentional is because other players have been noting that hand cannons with explosive payload are not able to kill in 3 crits inside of Checkmate. At least not anymore. Normally, the damage gets split in half into 2 separate damage numbers, but equals that total of 77. Instead, though, it's now doing 52-21, which only equals 73 damage per crit, which is why we think that Thorn is essentially running into that same issue. And hopefully, this does get fixed. Number 1, explosive payload is one of my favorite perks to have on a hand cannon. Look no further than Malediction. And number 2, this really kills Thorn's lethality, pretty much undermining the future catalysts, at least in regards to Checkmate. Now, with all this being said, the question that comes up, can you 2-crit 1 body inside of Checkmate? Considering that Checkmate is going to be a part of our Control Rotator playlist in Season 23, this is definitely a part of our lives now, which is why when we review weapons, we do tend to review them both in base Crucible and inside of Checkmate. And the second question I want to answer, can you 2-crit a Guardian with Mark of the Devourer? Actually, post update 7.2.5.3, that's going to be tougher, and we're still gathering gameplay on this. But with body shot damage being nerfed, it doesn't appear that Thorn, at least inside of Checkmate, can land that 2-crit 1 body. Now, obviously, it can do that very easily with Mark of the Devourer, but that's kind of one of the big selling points inside of regular Crucible, is that Thorn does have the ability to land the 2-crit the 1 body, giving it slightly more forgiveness than other hand cannons. But keep in mind, guys, even before the body shot damage nerf, technically speaking, you were only able to 2-crit 1 body on Guardians tier 0 to tier 4 resilience inside of Checkmate. And I would argue and say most people are rocking at least mid-level resilience. Now, the question that a lot of people ask, and the one that's pretty much the biggest selling point to Thorn, is its ability to 2-tap with Mark of the Devourer. Inside of base Crucible, Thorn can 2-tap on Guardians tier 5 resilience or less. However, tier 6 resilience or above will survive. Now again, Checkmate's a strange animal. I can't really test this, guys, unless somehow I get lucky and I can get somebody in the lobby with me on this. But Thorn can no longer 2-tap inside of Checkmate due to the damage going down with Mark of the Devourer. You used to be able to 2-tap Guardians tier 4 resilience and below, but now you're only doing 101 damage per shot with Mark of the Devourer, equaling 202 damage in total, which is not enough. And for my folks wondering, at least from our community research here, tier 0 resilience inside of Checkmate should equal somewhere around 212.8 hit points. Now, with all this being said, does that mean that Thorn is a bad weapon just because it's slightly weaker inside of Checkmate? Absolutely not. I do believe that the stat bumps Bungie's giving it, though, and the love they're giving its exotic catalyst is going to make Thorn an absolute powerhouse, despite some of its more drawbacks inside of Checkmate. And again, Checkmate is an evolving animal. What we're experiencing today in update 7.2.5.3 will most likely change by the time Checkmate is fully fleshed out in the game. Regardless though, guys, if you have not, I urge you to pick up Thorn today. Give it a go again, because whether you wanted it or not, Thorn is about to be the meta next season. All right, guys, that is our review there of Thorn and where it sits. Again, we'll be re-reviewing this weapon next season. For my folks asking, what about Last Word? Where's its exotic catalyst? Guys, I am still in love with the idea of Last Word being first curse when you aim down sights. Like, it's still Last Word from the hip, and then when you aim down sights, it converts to that 121st curse. That's a far range heavy hitter. Obviously, that's a massive change, but it only feels right considering how spicy Thorn's about to be. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.